Give a bit of a trigger warning because this is a video about mental health. I'm going to talk about some stuff from my past that...
Oh no. Trigger warning. Mental health alerts. His dad is a convicted PDF. Oh, bro, that is so sick, man. What? Bro. Weddle law. This guy's full of himself as well, isn't he?
And you'd hope, he'd be reformed in jail, but no, he's still a piece of shit. We're still getting letters where he's being transphobic to my youngest sibling. Come, he's fine. My mom...
I thought he would have reformed in prison, but he's still transphobic. What you're saying is, if he was strapped, he'd be more likely to use that on himself than anyone else. Finally, I got some self-defense. First of all, let's look at this Jake Weddl'es stuff. Now, I did cover this the other day, so I'm not going to go over it in detail again, but I'm just going to briefly kind of summarize the meltdown that happened that led to this video that we're about to watch, okay? So, as you know, Jake Weddle came out claiming he'd been war crimed and tortured because he had done a MrBeast challenge in which he had to stay in a room for 30 days, and he claimed that they kept the lights on so he couldn't sleep, it was too bright. He also claimed there was an ice cream machine that began to stink and a hot tub that, because the water wasn't being filtered properly, also began to smell. And also he was felt socially pressured to do a marathon on a treadmill, and that caused blisters. He left after 10 days. He got paid just over $100,000. Further to that, with the recent drama that's happened, MrBeast contacted him and offered him to pay him up to $300,000, which Jake Weddle felt entitled to, having done the challenge, despite the fact he only spent 10 days in there. Jake Weddle ended up saying, you don't need to pay me the full amount, but please give me an additional $50,000. And so he took an additional $50,000 on top of the just over $100,000 he'd already been paid for spending 10 days in this room. My take on that was he was claiming that it wasn't about the money and he wanted to make it on his own way, but then he ended up taking more money from MrBeast. So on top of the fact that he was claiming this was like some sort of torture, the word war crime was brought up in the video as well. I felt that was a really absurd kind of claim all round. And since then, he's kind of flitted between trying to move on and speak about comedy stuff and stand-up stuff, recognizing that people are only really interested in watching him when he's talking about MrBeast, so kind of having a little bit of MrBeast content in there as well. So yeah, it's very cringe, very lame, and I really think the guy's a loser. Now, the other day, another thing as well is he's got the kind of gene. So he is very focused on people that are kind of criticizing him and shitting on him, and he's kind of going into comments and responding and talking about how upset he is about people coming at him and stuff like that, right? And this all came to a sort of head here, where essentially Jake Weddle had a complete and total meltdown. And, well, I'll just quickly go through these. I won't read them word for word, but you can obviously pause if you want to read them in full. If you're watching live, that's going to be difficult, but, this will probably be a YouTube video, but pause and look through. The long and the short of it is he said that he was going to disappear for a bit. It was due to his mental health. He claimed he was getting harassed and that trolls were coming after him and had doxed some of his family. Go fuck yourself, go fuck yourself, go fuck yourself, go fuck yourself was a kind of highlight, I think, of this one. Also, go up to a rape victim and tell them it's their fault next. So he was kind of, giving a sort of comparison to his experience as someone that had been raped, which, remember, was taking part in a MrBeast challenge where he said that the room was too bright, an ice cream machine smelt, hot tub also smelt bad after a couple of days, and on top of that, he was socially pressured to do a marathon that gave him blisters. Okay? Anyway. And he's saying, or at least saying, that questioning me is similar to questioning someone that has been raped. Interesting. And then obviously talking about the upload he's going to be doing. And then it's like, before I go, let me spell it out to you. He then lists the kind of allegations that stand against MrBeast. Every single thing that's happened and been accused, he's kind of pointing out. Right? Very cringe. because some of this stuff I think is arguable. Some stuff here, illegal lotteries, sure. You know, covering some stuff up, I think probably has happened. I mean, some of this essay for multiple employees, I don't know if that's been demonstrated. Hiring PDFs, sure. I'd agree with that. Anyway, you get the gist. So some stuff, a couple of points, like all the MrBeast stuff, a couple of points that are worthy of consideration and other points that are not really. Let's say half of that's true. Jail, want to know my opinion? It's all true and it gets worse. And then he talks about how he's getting like accused of clout chasing only, low IQ morons. Believe survivors, investigate beasts. Believe survivors. And if anyone threatens my family, it will be an awkward reunion between me and my dad, I guess. Got it? Have I made myself clear? Fuck off. Get my name out of your mouth. And listen to what I'm saying before it's your kid that gets taken advantage of next. Which to me sounded like he was threatening to do that himself, you know? Back off or your kids are going to get diddled. Why would you say it like that? Anyway. Very cringe behavior. And then kind of threatening to send a cease and desist. All right, I'm done. Don't poke the bear again. I'll fucking burn it all down and it'll be easy. So, very kind of cringe, lolcow-esque meltdown from Jake Weddle. And he's just released a video responding to all of this, so we'll have a look at that. But there's also this clip, which I also showed last time. So let's have a quick look at this.
James Warren. Sex work is work. This should be, legalized and regulated so that, people in those industries don't get hurt, right? That's my opinion on that. I have
Don't want to upset your leftoid friends who are whores, so get that in there.
friends in those industries. People I used to go to high school with, and, I stayed in touch with, and they can't text me fast enough. When they say, hey, do you know this guy, James Warren? I was like, yeah, why? Oh, yeah, I've worked with him a few times. He loves to pay us to be around, and then he likes to show us his bank account and show us how much money he has. People he paid to be around, for that kind of stuff. Which, again, that's fine, but it's weird and cringe to pay those people to be around and then take out your phone and show them how much money you... Do we have screenshots to prove that? Of course I do. Do I want to endanger...
So he then goes on to talk about the screenshots. But the thing is like, even if this was true, why would I care about that beyond just being like, oh, that's a bit cringe. Okay, so the guy is cringy with sex workers showing off his income. Why am I supposed to care about that beyond laughing about it?
The people who sent me those things? No, I do not. Because that's what's difficult about this. Is people don't come forward because of you fucking trolls. Everyone is terrified to come forward. Oh, everyone's anonymous. That's because you people are fucking insane. That's why people are anonymous. And that's why he's gotten away with this for so long. It's because of you people who harass people on the internet. That's why this happens, and that's why it continues to happen. So if you don't know what you're fucking talking about, shut the fuck up.
Okay. Yeah, the other thing about this guy is like, he seems to have it under the impression that you cannot contest his account of things because he was there. Okay. Yeah, we can. What do you mean? If you come out and you say, I've had an experience and it was tantamount to torture and war crime, right? Because it was sleep deprivation. I feel like it's pretty reasonable to question that because that's quite an extreme claim that is, without footage of it or something. I mean, I'm sure the footage looks bad. I'm sure that it sucked for him. Don't get me wrong. But it's just the fact that he got paid for the days that he was there and he got an additional $50,000. And we're supposed to act like that's tantamount to questioning a grape victim. Presumably someone who has actually been raped, not just accusing of grape. And also, great people that are making accusations of grape do get challenged in court, of course, because that's how it works. You have to contest the testimony and have it hashed out in a courtroom, if necessary. Even the police. I mean, even people who advocate for victims will agree with the sentiment that that needs to be challenged and contested. Not all of them, obviously. Some people are retarded, but like even people that advocate for victims will understand or at least support the idea of like a contesting of that and a questioning of that, like in a professional setting, in a charity, something like that. Victim advocates, they get it, they understand. So this idea that he cannot be questioned over his claims is so stupid. Like, of course you can, dude. And also, you're a cringy loser, so you're getting mocked for that as well. Obviously, I disavow family doxing and stuff like that. Any doxing, not for that. But I think that he's utilizing some of the worst things that are happening to him to push back against everything that's kind of fair and reasonable as well, you know? So, anyway, that was what happened, and that, I believe, is what has then led to this. Let's have a little look. So he released this video called "Is Jake Weddle Okay?" I would say no. If you're having like schizo meltdowns on Instagram, freaking out at everyone because people are, you know, like to the point where you need to quit the internet for a bit. Anyway, let's hear him out. Let's see what he's got to say, shall we?
Yes. To address the clickbait, yes. I'm okay. I'm in a stressed out editing bay right now. I got a new computer, which is great. Love that. But a lot of my audio files got corrupted. So, disclaimer about some of my audio being a little janky. I wanted to get this out on Monday. That was the plan. I recorded it about a day or two after my... I got a little upsetty spaghetti on Instagram. Whoopsie daisies. Given the circumstances I'm under, I think it's pretty reasonable that I got a little upsetty spaghetti. But I also want to give a bit of a trigger warning because this is a video about mental health. I'm going to talk about some stuff from my past that was, you know, completely not MrBeast related. I have bonus trauma. But therapy has been a huge part of my life.
Bro. God, dude. My general perspective on this is if you've got some sort of struggle that you're going through with mental health, I mean, you know, this guy talking about being traumatized by the MrBeast stuff is so crazy. Anyway, let's be more generous than that, though, and say, okay, so you got some mental health issues from this, whatever. Why are you, like, so open about it? I just think this is, like, the resetting of the spectrum, and we've gone from, like, you know, men should never talk about their feelings all the way through to men should always talk about their feelings at length, including their mental health struggles and what treatment they're receiving for that. I'm pretty sure we can find some middle ground between, you know, absolute 100% unrepenting stoicism and, you know, basically being women. I think we could probably find a good middle ground where, you know, we're not splurging all the time about mental health struggles. Anyway, I missed something there.
I want to give a bit of a trigger warning because this is a video about mental health. I'm going to talk about some stuff from my past that...
Oh, no. Trigger warning. Mental health alerts.
was, you know, completely not MrBeast related. I have bonus trauma. But therapy has been a huge part of my life. I've known a lot of people with mental health struggles. I take mental health struggles very, very seriously. And a lot of people have been reaching out to me because they saw my interview. You know, they saw me be, you know, vulnerable on camera for a little bit, and people felt safe enough to come to me in my DMs and say, "Hey, I'm going through it. Do you have any advice?" And I've tried to respond to as many of you as possible because now I feel like if I don't respond,
oh, hey, Cecil McFly. Okay, I'm not going to say that because I don't know what the truth of that is, but that sounds wild. What is this about his dad? Also, I'm guessing that it's probably something to do. Probably something to do with something that happened as a kid, right? Wait, what? I did miss that. When did he say that? Did I miss it or did bro? His dad is a convicted PDF. Oh, bro, that is so sick, man. I'm not. Yeah, that's just wrong. Okay.
But I decided to make a video talking about some of my mental health struggles throughout my 27 years. So please note, this is a time capsule from a few days ago.
How did I miss that? Because sometimes I get distracted, okay? Guys, there's a lot going on and I stream for a lot of hours a day, all right? I like to keep abreast of what's happening. And sometimes I miss little details, like some dude saying his dad is a PDF, okay?
Even in this moment where I'm editing it, and I hope to get it up by Wednesday. The original plan was called Mental Health Mondays, but that would be awkward if it came out on a Wednesday. You know, I got to work on the marketing. You know, we got Wednesdays with Weddle. That's slowly getting overshined by Booty Call Wednesdays. But if you want to talk about mental health and not be a jackass about it, then you're
off depressed people.
He looks just like his dad BTW. They have the same moustache.
Thank you for the $5. God, I just really hate this perception of like, oh, we need to talk about mental health. And it is just like, let's talk about it like women do. I just don't think that's quite right. I think that men need a different model with which to, you know, engage and understand and talk about these issues. But people like this come along and act like just splurging on the internet is the right way to go about it. I don't think so. I disagree. I think this is cringe and gay.
in the right place. So yeah, trigger warning for like, you know, PDFs. Also domestic violence, you know, physical abuse, some authentic feelings about those things, and also some jokes.
Oh my God, dude. I feel like this is also quite manipulative, right? You're under attack from the internet and you come out and you go, oh yeah, by the way, I'm going to, you know, I'm presuming he talks about some stuff that happened to him as a kid. And it's like, I feel it's very manipulative to talk about it in that way. It's like Boogie does the same thing, right? Boogie has done the same thing. Exactly. Yeah, it's the Boogie card, precisely. Where he talks about stuff that happened to him as a kid. And it's a way to kind of wriggle around or circumvent people criticizing you or coming at you. It's like, I don't really care what happened to you as a kid. That's completely irrelevant to me in looking at and discussing what's happening here. And if your trauma as a result of what happened to you as a kid is coming up like this in your public, your interactions, persona, etc., maybe you should just log off forever. Maybe it's not for you, you know? Like, yeah, like don't be a pussy about it. Like, of course, everyone's got lots of different struggles. You know, there's people that have actually been full on horrendous things have happened to them and then gone about half as much as people like this, you know? It's crazy.
About those things. I'm going to talk about some good habits that I, you know, was able to glean from experiences in therapy, and some bad habits. Yeah, you know, trial and error. You know, whoopsie daisies, don't do that, you know? But if you're one of those people who reached out to me because you were like, oh, how do you get through stuff like this? Well, here's the video for you. But this isn't all everything, you know. Go to therapy, you know. See,
yeah, dude,
don't let me
it's just like treating your YouTube channel as like you're like, I don't know what the word for it. You're just splurging everything about yourself onto the internet, bro. Who cares? I thought your whole thing was, I made a few videos about MrBeast pointing it out. Now I'm going to go and talk about comedy stuff, and then all of a sudden I got to hear about you getting whatever as a kid. It's like, bro, what is this? This is insanity. Yeah, it's like it's a diary. Buy a diary and write your thoughts down there, please.
Your only healthcare provider. For the love of God, make sure you have a good support group. Make sure you have good people in your life. And if you require, you know, professional help, then there's no shame in getting it. And yeah, people who shit on you for seeking help, it takes a big person to ask for help. It's a lot bigger than somebody who shits on the person who needs it. And if somebody asks you for help,
There's platitudes as well, dude. It takes a big person to seek help. It's like the ultimate soy nod for mental health, isn't it? Go and seek help. Like, you know, I don't disagree with that. Obviously, if you're mental, yeah, go and see a doctor, of course. But it's like, you're very brave for doing that. Do you know what? I'm so sick of this narrative. No, you're not brave for doing that. That is like basic human living. If you've got a problem, go and seek out help. This bravery that we put on this stuff is so cancerous, dude. Just go and do it. It's a normal part of life. You're unwell in some way. Go and seek out medical assistance. Good. Correct. That's the way it should be. There's nothing particularly brave about it. It's just the thing you've got to do.
help, do what you can. It'll go a lot longer than you think it will.
Cancer. Total cancer.
Thank you guys for being here. Lighthearted content coming soon. I know I've been pushing back to Dan Crenshaw in the Baldur's Gate video. Dan Crenshaw's sponsored. I have to get that out. All right, here's Jake from a few days ago. Hi, thanks for being here. This video wasn't planned, but I do feel like it's really, really important. So before we get started, I do think we have one order of business. Are you happy? You're welcome. This past month, I guess, has been pretty wild. It has had a lot of ups and a lot of downs for me personally. And that's also all I'm going to talk about, is me personally. I'm not going to give you any tea. Relax. But I'm going to talk about my relationship with you guys, you know? I'm
going to talk about my relationship with you guys. This guy is like the classic example of a guy getting too parasocially attached to his own audience. Relationship. What relationship are you on about, dude? People watch you, and if they like your content, they subscribe and watch more of it. What do you mean relationship, bro? You're just cultivating the worst kind. Bro, this is how you end up with an audience that you're like then completely beholden to in the future.
Okay,
you can't ever say anything wrong without getting cancelled by them.
Off depressed people.
Tell us about how you're doing without getting on a soapbox about mental health. This is why lefties can never build a bridge to anyone but themselves.
Yeah, dude, that's actually a really good point. There's probably like a more casual way that you can do this as well without making this like big deal about it, right? And I think, yeah, that's like a good way of engaging with this. Just be more casual about it.
Off depressed people.
Gorilla.
Or make it funny. Yeah.
Gorilla.
Thank you for the $3. $3.33. John Sanchez.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
Low Beezy and Friends became a member. Low Beezy and Friends celebrates 6 months of membership. The enjoyment of the sufferer finds expression in those moans. If he did not feel enjoyment in them, he would not moan. Dostoevsky.
That's a good quote. I like that. Thank you for the membership. So yeah, and also it's like, as a comedian, you should probably just rein this in a bit. And dude, I don't know. It just seems crazy to me. You're supposed to be this funny guy, and you're waxing lyrical left and right about how mentally ill you are. Use it for your comedy. Turn it into jokes. Make it funny.
There's a lot of you guys. When I say guys, I mean like colloquially. I know some of you are women and they have been fucking, you know, I say, hey guys, yeah. The people who watch me, the people who like me, the people who don't like me, people who are neutral, and the haters and the losers on 9/11. And I hope that by just being vocal about some of this stuff, by just talking about it, giving you guys the ugly behind the scenes, it can help somebody make choices that don't put them in a situation where they feel unwell. Yeah.
Okay, this is total cope. The idea he's doing this for the good of people out there. He's doing it because he's under attack and he's trying to pull the like, I'm a little vulnerable animal card. Stop coming at me. To me, that seems very obvious that this is part of this, at least, right? A very manipulative kind of act, and he's trying to turn it into a positive. I'm just trying to help you guys out. No, bro, you're in the spotlight because you're a fucking moron and you don't like it, and now you're trying to get people to stop attacking you by basically curling up into a fetal ball.
I know when I was a kid, I wish I was told things, and it, you know, I know my audience isn't babies, thank God. You guys got really mad, actually, at the Jake Weddl'es wrote your childhood. The comments were like, I'm 46. I was like, sorry. No, mental health has always been a big part of my life, whether I like it or not. I feel like the base chemistry of my brain is fine. I don't have a...
crime is that he is the most unfunny creature in existence.
Dude, he just doesn't have it, man. Like a good comedian would take struggles with mental health and make it funny and entertaining, not turn it into a diatribe about how bad your life is, which I'm guessing is what's coming next. I mean, I'm not 100% yet, but I'm presuming that's what we're going to see.
The genetic predisposition to things like depression and anxiety. I do have crippling ADHD, which, you know, can snowball into some less fun things if not mitigated properly. I talked about this a little bit in Rat Boy Summer. That was essentially a mental health video as well, where I was talking about how excited I was to be on medication. I want to get into a lot in this video, so just so you know, stick around for a genuine background of my life so you know why I'm this way, okay?
Oh, what? Bro, Weddl'es. This guy's full of himself as well, isn't he? Bro, if you want to talk about your past, sure, like dribble it in here and there. But doing this whole video where you're like, let me explain my background to you.
But how do I make money
so
off depressed
pathetic,
people?
dude. Thank you for the $2. It's so self-centered, isn't it? Like, oh, you need to know everything about my past to understand me.
Okay? that I'm going to do how crazy this month in particular has been. Some personal choices that I was making that made me a little extra unwell. And then I'm going to give out some advice that I got from some dear friends, from some family, from some new friends. Rosanna called, and we had a lovely talk. And then we're going to talk about the channel here moving forward. I have a love-hate.
Bro, how many times has he done the channel moving forward thing? I feel like I've heard that about 10 times from this guy. What the fuck, dude? Why doesn't he just do what he's already said? Oh, I spoke about MrBeast, now I'm going to talk about comedy stuff. And he tried that for a bit. Presumably the viewership wasn't enough, so then he made a bit about MrBeast, and then he had a Spurg out, and now he's got to address that. Bro, just do what you said you were going to do and move forward. What's so difficult about that?
Hate relationship with doing Beast content, you know, because it is cathartic and satisfying, you know, like when I was doing jokes about my dad, or when I would do jokes about, you know, abusive relationships. It gave me power back, you know, to be able to take the piss out of something that was full of piss. I didn't like that. Let me do that again. You know, a lot of people say that comedy can be a defense mechanism. You know, it's something that blocks you from being able to process trauma. And I think that could be true, depending on the person. But I know it helps me. I know being able to joke about something serious, it makes it less scary, and it gives you the ability to process.
Oh, hey, G lately, how's it going? The reality is set in that nobody cares if he doesn't talk about MrBeast. That is such a good point, and that is probably a part of this too, right? Because I tell you what probably happened in his little brain. He saw videos about MrBeast getting like tons of views and thought, oh, I'm on to something here, guys. My videos about MrBeast got loads of views. Okay, my other videos probably won't get as many views, but I'm probably looking at hundreds of thousands of views a video. But then if you look at his channel, his videos where he's not talking about MrBeast, I mean, you know, 17k, 21k, which is pretty lackluster when you consider he's got 190,000 subs, you know? So yeah, I think the reality is, you know, probably kicking in a bit. Looks like people don't really care about me when I talk about MrBeast. Is part of this maybe trying to, you know, solidify some sort of parasocial connection with his audience to get people to watch more? Maybe, I don't know. I mean, even this video is not doing that great. 10k views in 21 hours for a 190k sub channel. Yeah, pretty rough.
Process. So there might be some bits in here. I might be a little silly. I hope it's okay. So let's get into why am I like this? But no, I didn't really have access to a lot of quality mental health care, or just general health care, really. I was seeing the pediatrician until I was like 24, as long as you're allowed to go. And that's because, you know, we grew up pretty broke. Everyone always assumes I grew up really wealthy. That's because I smile. What's that movie? Sorry to Bother You. I got that white people just carefree attitude. You know, oh, that guy's got his bills paid. No. One time we had our water. We had our power shut off, but our water wasn't shut off. So we had showers, but it was cold.
This is made for the people that he's created in his head that like him for him, which is probably a tiny fraction of his subscriber base. But anyone that only cared about this guy for the MrBeast stuff is probably already tuned out and probably hasn't clicked on it at all, you know?
So what we would do is we would boil some water and then mix it with some cold water so that we could take like a warm-ish sponge bath, you know? And I don't know, when you're in like high school and you got to catch the bus at like 5 a.m., you know?
Dude, okay. I've been doing this now for like 5 years or whatever, right? I would never release a video solely talking about my own life experience. You know, unless it was an interesting topic or something like that. I had some unique insight into something because I'd done something. The idea that I just release a video talking about my past in some fashion, because you guys don't give a shit about that. Rightly so. Why would you care about my history, right? It's just nothing. It's like a nothing piece of content that, you know, you need to have a very specific kind of channel that I think to get people interested in this sort of thing. And I certainly am not that. Jake Weddl'es is definitely not that. He's a MrBeast criticizer channel. That's what he's grown up from, you know? And his best bet would have been to maybe pivot to talking about other dramas or something. Maybe that might have been beneficial, because once you get people hooked on one drama, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, this is like completely opposite of what you should be doing because no one cares about you as a person.
You're a sleepy boy. You're sleepy. And you're in your 5 a.m. shower so you can get to school. You're mixing your hot and your cold. Well, sometimes...
I want to know about your past to one guy you better. Okay, dude. Okay, fair enough.
You forget to mix them. And I had to not go to school for a couple days because I accidentally poured boiling hot water on my head. Whoopsie daisies. And we were broke because my dad was a piece of shit. I have that one joke I always bring up about my dad. But one time I did a show called Dad Stories, and everyone was supposed to talk about their dads at the show, and they wanted me on it. I was like, oh, perfect.
Yeah. That's another observation I think it's worth bearing in mind. He's hoping he can endear himself to his audience through trauma bonding. He wants to feel bad and for that bond so they never leave. Yeah, that's probably true as well. He wants to try and build that connection with people. I think that's the way that YouTubers do it, so he's doing that. Also wants people to back off and tell him the fuck off hasn't worked. They've just laughed harder, so now he's like essentially
Okay,
caught him
that's
to a fetal
wonderful.
position.
But how do I
No,
make
stop coming at
money
me!
off depressed people?
They all want to be like Fruity Noah Samson.
Very true. Thank you for the $3. That's exactly it.
And that was the first time I did like 7 minutes exclusively on my dad, and that was a dark set. In fact, I guess I didn't get the memo, or maybe they should have researched who they were booking. That was not supposed to be the vibe. Everybody else brought their dads. The host comes on and is like, okay, Jake, I'm sorry. The next comic comes up and goes, what's up, everybody? My dad's here and not in jail. Jake, I'm sorry. But no, one of the jokes was he was a freelance contractor, and he worked like exclusively in my neighborhood. So I didn't really have a job. He would just kind of go door to door, be like a handyman, and have sex with your mom. And that's not a joke. He banged every mom on that swim team, I tell you. And then he got in trouble for messing with that kid. What happened, Nathan? You run out of moms? So he made like no
That's
money
wonderful.
in what little money.
But how do I make money off depressed people?
Immeasurable soy level, soy incarnate. Thank you for the super chat. Bro, that's such a weird joke to make. Oh, by the way, guys, my dad was a nonce. Oh, why would you say it like that? Yes, apparently I missed it, or maybe I paid attention and didn't remember. But anyway, apparently, yeah, this guy's dad is a convicted PDF file, from what I understand. Bro, why? Also, what? It's such a weird thing to reveal publicly. I guess maybe people would have looked it up and found out somehow. But I mean, if you're being reasonable, you can't really criticize someone for the actions of their parents. I mean, that's crazy. It would be the other way around. That the kid is some reflection on the parents, perhaps, possibly. But yeah,
Money he did have, he spent on beer and bullshit. He fucking hogged my Xbox like an older brother. And it kind of felt like that because my parents were really young when I was born. The fact that I'm 27 and don't have 3 kids right now means I'm crushing it. It was like a dorm full of teenagers that didn't...
Oh, right. That's why he said in his Instagram that him and his dad would have an awkward reunion. Ah, I get it now. So he was basically saying that he'd take an action that would cause him to have to go to prison. Ah, now I understand. See, it didn't make sense before, but now it does. Right, I get it. Okay.
know what they were doing, and we didn't have any money. And my dad was a real piece of shit to my mom all the time. A lot of the times people are like, oh my God, you're nature, nurture, you grow up in a shitty environment. Yeah, I grew up in a dog shit environment, but it was good to see examples of what not to do.
Also, here's the other problem with that kind of thing as well, right? Because presumably, I mean, if you've committed a crime against a child, you're normally put in a different wing of the prison, siphoned away from the different people because you're such a high risk of getting assaulted. So how exactly are you going to have a reunion in prison to be reunited with a dad? Like, so that's obviously another kind of issue with that, I guess.
To do, I got to see how certain behaviors would make women cry, and then I would write down, "Don't do that." Yeah, it was a verbally abusive and sometimes violent place to be when you're growing up. So that's one. I have a lot of residual. And that's the most processed thing, by the way, because that's the longest, most talked about. I've done the most amount of dealing with, And then everyone talks about like why I'm so like jovial and open about that kind of stuff. You know, why aren't you like weird? Like I'm not weird about talking about. I'll tell you anything. I'm an open book about that kind of stuff because
Oh, we got a thing here, have we? Oh, uh-oh. Dude, is this him? I'm taking this from chat, so I have to take your word for it for now. I don't want to mess this up and get it wrong. Former rally swim coach could spend nearly 29 years in prison for crimes. Oh. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That's not looking too good, is it? Well, we don't want to make the same mistake the dog pack made. Okay, let's be real. So this is a news article about someone called Nathan Weddle, okay? That someone has linked to me in Discord. I have not personally verified that this is indeed his father. So I'm just interpreting this as a news article about someone called Nathan Weddle who was accused of crimes against children. That's it. That's all I'm saying, okay?
because him going to jail was awesome. Yeah, I said this in another video. It was like a guy who was really good at avoiding consequences finally had some consequences. And so the toxicity was removed. And you'd hope, he'd be reformed in jail, but no, he's still a piece of shit. We're still getting letters.
I mean, in any case, obviously he's saying himself that his dad is a convicted, So, even if that's not the guy, he's claiming it himself.
He's being transphobic to my youngest sibling. Fuck him. He's fine. My mom, you guys love that bitch. Me too. She was at the tail end.
Right, sorry, I missed something. Sorry.
Why aren't you like weird? Like I'm not weird about talking about. I'll tell you anything. I'm an open book about that kind of stuff because him going to jail was awesome. Yeah, I said this in another video. It was like a guy who was really good at avoiding consequences finally had some consequences. And so the toxicity was removed. And you'd hope, he'd be reformed in jail, but no, he's still a piece of shit. We're still getting letters where he's being transphobic to my youngest sibling. Fuck him. He's fine. My mom.
I thought he would have reformed in prison, but he's still transphobic. What has being transphobic got to do with anything in this aspect? Being reformed would mean that you don't go out and commit the same crimes that you did before, or some sort of criminal act. Being transphobic and committing a crime is not in any way meaningfully connected. What is he on about, dude? Oh, he's still a bad dude. He's being a transphobe.
Mom, you guys love that bitch. Me too. She was at the tail end of one of my videos. You guys commented, Mama Weddle. Yeah, my dad wouldn't let my mom get a job because he was like weird and sexist. He was like, no, I'm the breadwinner. And then we didn't have any bread. And then we got him out of the picture, and then my mom was able to kind of crawl us out of that into lower middle class. Ka-ching! And that basically brings us to midway through college. That was the life up until maybe 7 years ago. And there's some things about that I, like I said, there's positives that I can find if I'm really looking. Like I got a lot of what not to do examples. I know how to be broke. I'm not scared to go broke. I've been broke before. I'll do it again. There's pros and cons to this, but
Bro, if this guy goes broke again after getting a 50k paycheck on top of the 100k he already got from MrBeast, I mean, what other conclusion can you reach other than that he's just terrible with money? Obviously, 50k after taxes isn't going to last you forever, but that's a pretty big windfall that would enable you to, set up a business, YouTube channel, if he actually makes some content and not just bang on about MrBeast all the time and finds a way to move forward, that gives him time to build something up there. That's how on earth would you possibly go poor with all this attention on you and you've just got 50k? Jesus.
I wish I didn't have to be so emotionally intelligent, but you have to do it to survive. I'm really hyper vigilant on picking up when somebody else is sad or angry. Because if I didn't do that before, I'd get hurt. But now I can take that skill and be like, hey, are you good? And they're like, yeah. How'd you know I wasn't feeling well? Oh, it's because I can smell you. I don't think anybody should have to go through.
Bro, why is he explaining it like he's got some sort of superpower because he got abused as a kid or whatever? Yeah, that's normal. Normally you can pick up on non-verbal communication that indicates there's something wrong with someone. And he's acting like he's like a superhero. But rather than get bitten by a radioactive spider, He got abused by his dad and it turned him into an empath. That's his superpower.
Through adversity, but I do think it makes somebody stronger if you can get through it. But that's a 50-50 toss-up. In a lot of comics, they talk about going through a lot of trauma, and then one of your responses to said trauma is you got to be funny. And I mean, not every comic, obviously, but a lot of them. And that's why one time, this was like years ago, I was asking dating
advice. How do I make money off depressed people?
Please hurl out some slurs at this man.
I can't really hold slurs. The F slur. I'd be saying the F slur if I was allowed to. Thank you for the 333.
From a friend of mine. He's an older comic. He's literally me 10 years in the future. He looks terrible. But I was talking about dating advice, and I would date people who like would get really, really upset over stuff that when I was growing up was like Tuesday, and that's just my perspective, because I grew up that way, and they would grow up the other way. And what did he say to me? He said, "That's why comics can't date surface dwellers."
It's just hitting me that his mannerisms and speech patterns are super close to Boogie. Yeah, I was saying earlier, like all this stuff he's doing with the abuse stuff, curling up into a fetal position when he's getting attacked. Like he's got the same shit going on as Boogie. The speech, the mannerisms. Is it the gene that makes him do that?
I was like, damn. You're right. Let me get back to the sewer. I'm a dumpster mutt. But he also said...
Yeah, no, sure. It's a product of manipulation, I think. He's being very manipulative here. And I think that is what is a parallel with Boogie, the manipulation that he's trying to engage in. Simultaneously trying to, wrangle his fans that he thinks like him to like him more through this kind of parasocial enhancement and attachment, and the kind of curling up into a fetal position. Please stop coming at me because, I had all this terrible stuff happen to me. Very manipulative. Yeah, using trauma for internet points in one way or another.
For perspective, the worst thing that's ever happened to somebody, even if it's not that bad, is still the worst thing that ever happened to somebody. So it's good to have empathy both ways. You don't want to invalidate anybody's experience, even if your perspective, you're like, it's still real to them, obviously. In that environment I grew up in, it definitely pushed me, to do stand up. I knew I wanted to perform. I knew I wanted to be funny.
He's being choked by mediocrity. I like that. That's a good way of putting it. And petty manipulation is his only option. Yeah, this guy's been like thrust into the spotlight in like an unreasonable fashion, because the only reason he's being put there is because he got war crimed by MrBeast, right? According to him, at least. And so, yeah, he's not clawed his way up here by being entertaining or engaging or something. It is just, I got abused by MrBeast. Here's a load of attention. And so he's not able to handle it. Dude, this is so classic as well when you have this big upward swing in popularity for some reason. You're not used to the immediate quick attention that you get, and so you crumble under that pressure. So that's another thing as well. I mean, in fairness, that's kind of happens to a lot of people, but I think that's another element of this.
And when you also have trauma, and it's your artistic expression to talk about that trauma, if you could do it in a funny way, that's awesome. If you can't do it that way, though, then I don't know, go watch an Ari Aster movie, I guess. And for me, if you can take something.
Oh, okay, I must have missed that. At 8:10, he says his dad is named Nathan and mentions a swim team. Okay, so it's pretty likely that is him, yeah.
Shitty and awful and bad, and turn it into something positive. You're not literally the thing itself, but you take that experience, and from that experience, you can then distract somebody else about their bills or everything they're worried about today. Hey, they can turn it off, and we can make fun of my bullshit. And while I'm distracting you from your daily troubles, maybe you're getting some tidbits about how you can handle trauma yourself. And if I can make you laugh doing that, that gives me chills thinking about. But that environment also maybe projected me into some not good habits. I took a lot of what not to do notes.
Bro, it's like he wants to do everything all at once, and I want to make you laugh. I want to give you tips on how to deal with trauma. Why not just focus on one thing and doing it well? Like, go and be a fucking psychologist or a therapist if you want to help people deal with trauma. Or, if you want to just be a comedian, just be funny. That's all you need to do. That's literally it. Nothing else is required, okay? Be funny. And then if other stuff comes off of that, great. But being funny is the most important thing of all. And it seems like he's not particularly good at that, nor focused on that.
but I probably also picked up some subconscious behaviors. You know, I'm a people pleaser. You know, I'm trying to make sure everybody's happy. I want to make sure everybody's good with me. You know, if somebody has a problem with me, I go up to him and I go, "Oh, I'm sorry. What did I do? Is there anything I can do for you? I'm sorry."
Oh,
What's
no.
that John Mulaney bit where he's like, "You could spill soup in my lap and I'll apologize to you." You know, that's, yeah. And, you know, this next part, I'm not going to dwell on. It's behind me. But that, you know, could carry over and perpetuate being in some, you know, toxic situations myself. Situations, you know, relationships where I could have stuck up for myself a little more. That was a lesson learned in you can't people please to the detriment of yourself, and that is a lesson I struggle
Wait, did I miss something? What was he saying that was the event?
with every day. It comes from a place of, you know, wanting to do good, you know, wanting to not be an asshole, you know, have a positive impact. But also comes from, oh no, you're mad at me? Well, I'm trained to know that equates to harm. Maybe if I'm funny, or maybe if I apologize, or maybe if I, you know, make myself as small as possible, then less people get hurt. And it's
Oh. He's saying he dated someone who mistreated him. Yeah, everyone's been through that. It's like he presents the most standard human experience as some unique struggle that he's faced. Like, bro, yeah, there's shitty people out there, and sometimes you end up in a relationship with them.
wrong. But I got to etch a sketch then out of my brain somehow. It's hard to be funny about that kind of stuff sometimes, yeah. This is the last thing about that one situation. We'll move on, but, you know, sometimes my partner should be physical with me. And you, first of all, everyone's like, "Oh, you're a dude, pussy, fucking," you know. And I was on the phone with mom about it.
Oh my god, dude, yes! Bro!
Celebrates 3 months of membership. Jake, do it. Let go.
Thank you for the membership. God, I actually don't disagree with the sentiment expressed there that, yeah,
Okay,
women
that's
can be
wonderful.
physical and it's not
But
as
how do I
simple as
make
just beating them
money
up.
off the
Like, it's a lot
press
more complicated than that.
Little tipples twisted too?
But the way he's expressing it, I want to turn into like the fucking typical, like, you know, non-nuanced guy. Dude, it's so infuriating the way he describes it. It's like, I don't know, get over it. Like, bro, I don't know. It's just so frustrating that he's talking about it like this. And it's like, yeah, life sucks, dude. Shit happens. Get over it. Why are you telling us all this?
And I should have stayed one year after that, but my mom was just, "I'm worried about you." And what did I say to her? I said, "Don't worry, Mom, I can take her." You know, the thing I said about
Fucking hell, dude.
taking a snapshot of somebody at their worst and using it to discredit them when they're...
The thing is, I mean, dude, the way he's described it is so annoying. The problem is that, yes, of course, a man is more physically capable than a woman on average, and so can often defend themselves in those situations. But it's not the physical act itself that's the problem. It's the fact that they're trying to do it in the first place. That obviously is a head fuck as well, you know? But the way he's described it there, I just want to turn it into the... I just instinctively want to be like... what he's criticizing, because it's so infuriating the way he describes it. It's like so pathetic and wretched. And you shouldn't even be putting this in a fucking video. You know, just don't put it in there. Who cares? Okay, a woman beat you one time. What relevance is that to me understanding your content and knowing you now? Again, it just feels like this kind of trauma dumping shit. It's just so pathetic.
They're trying to talk about real shit. You guys said we should put that on a t-shirt. It's a little long, but yeah, that was one of the mechanisms. Yeah, I would be it's called reactive abuse.
Yes, his brand is pathetic victim comedian. Yes, comedian in the loosest sense of the word, because I've not heard him say anything funny once, I don't think.
Thanks TikTok, or you know the other person just pokes and prods and gaslights and get you wired up until you blow up, and then the second you blow up, they go, "You're fucking crazy." Yeah, you know, everything I said in those previous videos, unfortunately, came from experience. So silver lining. Maybe it was good to have the experience so I could be ready for this. And you know, the past year,
it's all one big
my
joke.
mental health's been really good.
Oh, is he talking about everyone that's criticizing him in saying that? Is that right? Dude, He is not cut out for this, bro. He is just not cut out for this. He's not going to survive. He's not going to last. He can't do it. You just got, dude. He cannot. I don't think he's ever going to be able to learn to ignore shit, and he's going to constantly feel inclined to respond. And yeah, and also, yeah, we really don't need to know any of this. No, we don't. We literally don't. I mean, all he's doing is giving ammunition to his haters to shit on him more. You know, fortunately, I'm a nice guy, so I'm being quite measured in the way I'm talking about some of his experiences. You know, but other people would go way harder at him than I am even doing. And it's like you're just giving them ammunition as this trauma dump to show weakness. People will either capitalize on that, be neutral and not care, and you'll have a very small scrap of people that maybe might like you more, but that's going to be the mass minority on this.
Yeah, I had ups and downs, obviously, but I had such a down that it gave me a kick in the pants to change things, as explained in Rat Boy Summer. And I was on meds, I was eating right, I was sleeping good, was getting my work done. You know, I felt good. We'd stand up. All the pieces were coming together for a fully formed Weedle, a Kakuna, if you will. And then this beast shit hit the fan. I wasn't expecting it. Yeah, if you told me like mid-July this crazy shit was going to happen, I would believe you. The days leading up to the interview, and then the days leading up to the release of it. Yeah, there was some struggles, some struggling days. But I was so nervous about me appearing to struggle. You know, if I show struggle, then they're going to use that to discredit me. Like, oh, see, he's crazy, you know? And that's just a feeling I'm all too familiar with. You know, I was expecting the worst, and then something else happened. The video came out, and it was received very well.
Yeah, he's not only is he sharing all of his biggest weaknesses, but he also made sure to tell us that he's really bad at handling when people don't like him. Great, bud, that surely won't backfire. The truth of it is, I mean, obviously, you know, any human being hearing that someone doesn't like them in some fashion is going to be, oh, that sucks. But online, if you're putting yourself out there, you just got to ignore it and just move forward. Because, yeah, even the most liked person on the internet is disliked by some. You just got to accept that and move on, you know? There's no person that is universally liked without question. It just doesn't exist.
Better than I could have ever hoped, you know? I don't think I've ever been collectively validated by the world before. That was a surreal feeling, you know, to have to be, you know, quiet about something shitty like that, and then you're scared to talk about it, and you do talk about it, and you feel good about talking about it. That was awesome. And then, you know, after a while, you know, more serious stuff started coming out. You know, the news, you know, mainstream media started picking it up. You know, Rosanna did a thing on NBC. Like, if you want to say I'm weird, that's fine. If you want to say my stand-up's bad, that's fine. If it's like a superficial, like, oh, not my cup of tea, like, that's fine. Stand-up taught me about, you know, honesty and vulnerability, you know? It's an artistic...
Okay. I don't know if I'm reading too much into this. It feels like he's trying to, like, set this criteria of when it's okay to dislike him. No, people are going to dislike you for all sorts of reasons. Some of those reasons are going to be unreasonable and unfair and based on misunderstandings. You know, whatever. You just got to... Yes, welcome to the internet, dude. People can choose to like you for whatever reason they like, even if they're totally wrong.
Artistic choice to be completely bare, open, and vulnerable in a way that's raw and real, even if it looks bad. You know, on one hand, it's helpful for me to process it in real time verbally. And on the other hand, if, you know, somebody can relate to the experience, they can not feel as scared either because other people go through it. So if you have any questions, ask me. I'll tell you everything. So that's just what I did in the first dog pack video. Was I was just
Also, that's true as well. He says that, but he literally spurred when he said it wasn't funny. Yes, he was in his comments responding to people that were saying he wasn't funny. Why? You think you're going to convince them to laugh at you? Like, people are just not going to find you funny. That's it. Move on.
I didn't expect to cry. I've told that story at parties enough where, you know, like,
wait,
the
what story did he just tell?
Vulnerable in a way that's raw and real, even if it looks bad. You know, on one hand, it's helpful for me to process it in real time verbally. And on the other hand, if somebody can relate to the experience, they can not feel as scared either because other people go through it. So if you have any questions, ask me. I'll tell you everything. So that's just what I did in the first dog pack video. Was I was just I didn't expect to cry. I've told that story at parties enough where like the whole
Oh, he's talking about the dog pack story when he got war crimed.
New York comedy scene like knew about this for years, because you give me 2 ciders, I'll break an NDA. But sitting down and going over it with dog pack,
But how do I make money off depressed people?
Floppy Dong became a member. Floppy Dong celebrates 1 month of membership. We're definitely laughing. Just not at his jokes. What a freak.
Thank you, Floppy Dong, for the membership. Have you commented on him being a mullet, mustached F-word? British cigarette. I mean, yeah, it's the kind of archetype, isn't it, of every kind of bread tube style creator. He's not really a bread tuber, but he's got the same politics as a bread tuber. It's that look, isn't it? The mullet, the mustache.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
New show idea: Chud judges 3 grape victim contestants in a comedy battle royal.
Thank you for the $5. Good concept. Also, the dog pack thing as well. At first, I thought, when I've always been skeptical of dog pack, but I think I was more generous to dog pack, particularly after like his first video, and I watched it properly. And at first I thought, oh, is he just getting like dragged down by people like Jake Weddl'es and that black guy that set up a $1.7 million GoFundMe? But yeah, that's not the case. He wants to prop these people up and he wants to move them forward because, from his perspective, they're shitting on MrBeast, and that's all that you need. You don't actually need to have any more substance than just, oh, they're shitting on MrBeast, so I'm going to push their stories forward, regardless of how good, credible, worthy of consideration they are.
it was closer to me in therapy than me doing stand-up, even though I was doing bits the whole fucking time. And so, yeah, like regular mean comments, that's fine, I don't know, the fact, like, oh, he's acting, oh, he's grifting, it wasn't that bad, at least you got paid,
Oh, yeah, that's what I was saying. Even from his own perception, like, obviously, I would agree with some of those. Grifting, I don't know about grifting. I think he believes what he's saying, right? I just think he's like a wretched weakling, and that's why he analyzes things in the way that he does. I think it's more milking than grifting. Yeah, he's very thin-skinned. But yeah, it's obvious. Dude, also, bro, you're literally telling people what winds you up too. He's going to get one guide forever by everyone at all times.
Stand-up, even though I was doing bits the whole fucking time. And so, yeah, like regular mean comments, that's fine, I don't know, the fact, like, oh, he's acting, oh, he's grifting, it wasn't that bad, at least you got paid, Like, don't get me wrong, I wasn't, like, sexually assaulted or anything. But the mechanisms in which you use to invalidate survivors of that kind of thing, those were at play, Like I was asking for it. People, I was in the interview being...
Well, yeah, you literally did ask for it. Wait, what? It's the equivalent of someone walking into a bar naked with a sign around their neck that says, R-word me. Yeah, you were literally asking for it to that extreme. Yes, I mean, you agreed to do this challenge. I mean, certainly, I'm sure there were some aspects of it that were unpleasant. And I can even accept that some of the aspects were going to be more unpleasant than you perhaps perceived initially. But fundamentally, you were in a position where you could leave that whenever you wanted, but you decided to stay for 10 days. And you got paid $100,000. So I find it difficult to really, see that as people questioning that or talking about that, considering you could have left at any point. It's like, I don't know, a victim, someone walks into a rape dungeon, okay? And there's a guy there and he says, this is my rape dungeon and I'm going to rape you, right? And the woman says, okay. Well, the guy says, you can leave if you want, okay? You're allowed to leave if you want to, but this is my rape dungeon, and if you stay, I'm going to rape you in 5 days' time. And the woman decides to stay. even though it's been laid out to them. I mean, at that point, yeah, I think it's reasonable to say, well, you were asking for it, right? Like, I don't know, is that crazy? Is that a crazy take? I know it's not a real situation, but like, there's some circumstances where it's reasonable to put the consequence of someone's actions on their own actions, particularly if they're in a circumstance where they can walk away from it once they start to understand the ramifications of that action, you know? So, yeah.
A lot, because I am, and I went through a lot. And, you know, people were being dismissive, saying I was crazy. And that's what makes me think of, you know, what happened with Dave Chappelle, you know, before he got weird and transphobic. When he left Chappelle's show, you know, the tabloids said he was like doing crack, you know? Why? Because he turned down $50 million? Surely he must do crack. No, it's because some people care about things other than money. And if you think you have to smoke crack to turn down $50 million, then that says a lot about you and what you think and you believe. I remember he said...
Wait, what? He took the money. What's he on about the $50,000? Sorry.
Like doing crack. You know?
I missed the whole 50K bit.
Invalidate survivors of that kind of thing. Those were at play, you know? Like I was asking for it. You know, people, you know, I was in the interview being a lot, because I am, and I went through a lot. And, you know, people were being dismissive, saying I was crazy.
Oh, yeah, I know about the 50K thing.
And that's what makes me think of, you know, what happened with Dave Chappelle, you know, before he got weird and transphobic. When he left Chappelle's show, you know, the tabloids said he was like doing crack, you know? Why? Because he turned down $50 million? Surely he must do crack. No, it's because some people care about things other than money. And if you...
Oh, I see. Wait, but he's doing that, but he took the 50K. What? How does that... Okay, I'm a bit confused. I'm even more confused.
You think you have to smoke crack to turn down $50 million, then that says a lot about you and what you think and you believe. I remember he said, he goes, you shouldn't call anybody crazy. It's dismissive. You know? He talked about Martin Lawrence in his underwear waving a gun around...
Bro, if he wanted to make this comparison, it would hit a lot harder if he turned down MrBeast's offer for more money, but he didn't. He accepted 50K. Yeah, and you know, there's obviously like people do these hypotheticals, don't they? If you could get X amount of money for this, and da 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 da, and people are like, "Oh, you do it for this much money, for this much money, for this much money." But I think sometimes when you're in certain situations, you do end up turning things down that make more sense to a lot of people. Where yeah, I could easily imagine that's a lot of money, but Dave Chappelle didn't want to give up whatever he had to give up to take that 50 millions, even though he probably would have been set for life. So he, you know, took a different path. You know.
his neighborhood saying they're trying to kill me. And yeah, you could write that guy off as, you know, some fucking psycho. But what made him be that way? You know? What drove that person to, you know, being crazy? If that person's crazy, why? What happened? Because it's probably not their fault. You know? Something happened. Insanity is like gravity. And sometimes that push is circumstantial. And sometimes that push is very...
I'm a bit perplexed. Is he trying to say that because... This just seems so odd without meaningfully recognising the fact he took 50k? Or is it the idea that he didn't take the full amount when offered and he only took 50k? Is that the comparison?
You're purposeful. You know, sometimes you get spit into the content machine, whether it's YouTube, Hollywood, you know, the road, and it spits you out crazy. And that doesn't mean you're crazy. You're just reacting normally to the given circumstances, I think. You know, so last couple days were a little rough. Not only because, you know, the comments are one thing. I was getting some death threats, which weren't that bad, you know.
Oh my God. Just death threats. Bro, no one meaningfully cares about death threats, okay? The only death threat you have a right to be concerned about is if someone says, oh, here's your address, here's where you shop, I'm going to come and do this to you at this time tomorrow or something. When it's very specific, right? But if it's just, I'm going to redact you, motherfucker, you know, you shouldn't care about that. You should laugh about it and move on, because that's not a serious threat. And even if you get a serious threat that has a specific time and place, you should quietly report that to the police and go about your day, right? Maybe a bit more cautiously. Maybe be strapped if you're able to in America. But in any case, this idea that you speak about it publicly, it's just more manipulation, more attempts to elicit a certain emotion from the audience. And more practically, you're giving people ideas. You're telling people how to get under your skin, how to bother you. And so people are inevitably going to probably send more death threats from anonymous accounts and stuff, Just quietly report it if it's serious and move on. And if it's not, ignore it, because who cares if someone sends you a DM saying, I'm going to redact you? How? How are you meaningfully going to actually do that?
Oh, and one guy just had a bunch of slurs. And I've been doing a lot of backdoor work to keep my family safe because they were getting harassed. And, all those things put together, I talked about my insomnia problems. The lead up to the release of the interview, and these past couple days were the last times where my sleep was really difficult. So my sleep was.
Wait, Chud, you were just saying an hour or two ago about how mentally ill people should not be getting weapons. Right? What's that got to do with this?
Bad. I had a bit of a lapse on my meds, and that's just because they're difficult to get. And now I can see the night and day difference. When I'm on them, it's much easier to keep myself.
Also, I feel that's an unfair characterization of what I said. I made it, is obviously a certain criteria that, Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Oh, because he's mentally ill.
Okay, that's
right.
Wonderful.
Got it. Okay.
But how do I make money?
Wait,
off depressed people?
that's okay.
Have
That's
you
where you're
gone
going
over the
from.
new interview with the ex-MrBeast employee who accidentally showed his Pornhub tabs on that one video talking about prison?
Yes, I will be talking about that in a bit, Squirrel Aids. And there's a very funny thing we're going to look at in that, which some of you probably have figured out already. I thought you were doing some weird hypocrisy hunting, but no. I understand though. I get it. What you're saying is, if he was strapped, he'd be more likely to use that on himself than anyone else. Finally, I got some self-defense. Something like that, yeah?
Together. That's what meds are for. And I'm not going to lie. You know what not the worst drug, but what's a pretty bad drug? Your phone. I was so worried before, and then it came out and it was positive. I was glued to my phone because I've never received that much validation before in my life. And that made the happy chemicals go burr, okay? But that's dangerous. Doing things that are self-soothing, when you're feeling down, it can feel good in the short term,
God,
but it can fuck you up in the long term. One of my comfort, soothing, happy chemical moves is I get junk food. Oh, I DoorDash junk food like a piece of shit. Oh, I get the worst food in the world, and I order it online. The guy brings it to me. I don't even have to get up. Oh, he leaves it at the door. I said, I want chicken wings right now. There's behaviors that, aren't good, aren't healthy, but they can feel good, and that's what you want. You want to feel good. And that's hard sometimes, so you find cheap ways to feel good, easy ways to feel good. So I was glued to the phone. I was looking at, oh yeah, that Jimmy takedown video? Nice. Oh, that one? Cool, And then when the other comments and the death threats started coming in, I was already hooked, So I'm already here. I'm already glued. And then it was as if I had started doing cocaine, and then like a week into cocaine, someone started giving me fentanyl instead. You had me in the first half, and now I need to have more responsibility with that kind of stuff, I can't just, rage into my camera and then put it out. That's, again, ADHD.
So what he's saying is basically he was like enjoying looking at all the MrBeast takedowns, but then when he started getting some blowback, all of a sudden it was like, oh no, not like that. Like, look, I think MrBeast has done some fuck stuff that he needs to address, okay? For all you, MrBeast derangement syndrome people. Yeah, of course I agree with that. But it's funny how he's like enjoying the fall down of someone else. Presumably MrBeast is getting a load of this stuff too. Directly, Jimmy is probably getting a lot of this shit happening. But that doesn't even enter his head to think about that. But the second it starts happening to him, not much of an empath, is he? The second it starts happening to him, all of a sudden he breaks down and it's not
wonderful.
cocaine anymore, it's
But how do I
fentanyl.
make money off depressed people?
Thank you for the $2. This guy sounds like Charlie Little Cock.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
Eats like shit, doom scrolls Twitter, and refreshes his DMs for dopamine hits. Smells like a winner to me.
Very true, Lord of War. Thank you for the $5.
Impulsive, stand up, vulnerable, yapping. It's in character for me, but yeah, that doesn't mean it's correct. But what does that mean? You know, you see somebody having a meltdown. You see somebody blowing up. They're being crazy. What does that mean? It means they need help. It means they're unwell, and you know.
Oh my god, dude! Wait, hang on a sec. Is he saying that his meltdown was him calling for help and people should be nicer to him? Me having a total break on social media, schizo break on social media and going ballistic. You shouldn't be laughing at that. You should be offering help. No, I don't think I will.
The last time I did an Instagram dump like that, was when I was in that shitty relationship. And, but I did that both times. You know, I had really, really good people reach out to me, and that's what you should do. You know, when you see somebody struggling, there's a couple of things you shouldn't do. You know, like take a snapshot so you can discredit them later. Yeah, that's a shitty thing to do. Or just you see somebody, being that way, and you kick them while they're down. You know, you keep, being shitty. You know, you.
Oh my god, dude! I was so correct earlier of the fetal position thing. This is what he's doing. This is him wrapping himself
Turkey
further
became
into
a
a
member.
fetal position. Stop attacking me! No one's got any obligation to be nice to you and can laugh at you all they
But how
want.
do I make money off depressed
Thank
people?
you, Floppy
Swedish
Dong,
Crow became
for the
a member.
memberships.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money?
Honestly, he
off
reminds me of
depressed
someone who's
people?
been on
Tangler
antidepressants
became
for
a
a
member.
month, thinks he needs to tell everyone what he's feeling. Yes, very true.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
This guy is making a lot
Q
of good
became a
points and
member.
everyone should listen to him.
Bo Blacks, thank you for the 333. Appreciate it.
Make fun of it. I just can't fathom that. Like, I literally,
Right, Stiggins? Yeah. Something you also shouldn't do is vent and dump in a YouTube video. This guy's pathetic. Just so funny that he's back at this, even after all of the, I'm doing comedy workshops, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And he's had this fucking very public meltdown on social media, and now he's got to address it. And his response is, well, you shouldn't be mean to me. I need help, actually.
I was so taken aback by it to see somebody struggling like that, and then to go out of your way to say the meanest thing in the world not to their face, because you're protected by a screen, you pussy. No, what you should do is you should say, hey man, do you need anything? What do you need? What can I do for you right now? I've had people in person, again, not online, in person, get in my face, be shit.
No, bro, that's not how the internet works. I mean, obviously, people could be nice if they want to, I guess, but no one's got any obligation to be pleasant or nice to you just because you're having an autistic fucking freak out in your Instagram messages or whatever.
Shitty. And, some people would just punch them, fight back, I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me, and I've just gone, hey, brother, who hurt you? And we talk. I give him a hug. We're friends. Okay, you can spin it around the other way. It's called empathy. You ever heard of it? Yeah, I was streaming with Dog Pack, Cam Nugget, and Quintio. Oh my god, name drop. What the hell? And one of their chatters said, I don't know how they knew this. I didn't say this in the interview. I have no idea how they found this out. They said, hey, Jake, is it true that one of the nights you were in there, you were just screaming? And I try to be funny in the moment. Yeah, I did that Bo Burnham reaction. I was like, yeah. But truth be told, internally, it took me back. It was the second.
Bro, this dude in there, bright white lights, ice cream machine stinking of off milk, little bits of detritus floating about in the hot tub, and he's just like, ah. It's such a funny thought, dude. Get back on the treadmill, Jake, now. We need our footage, you little bitch. I don't care if you got blisters. Get running.
The day before I got out, it was this day, the marathon. I stayed in one more day, and they let me out. But it was the first time that they were like, oh, fine, we'll turn the lights off. The marathon was the next day. And the only thing that was on was the green lights from the hot tub. Yeah, because the hot tub had gamer lights. Thank God. So it was just this weird neon green,
Bro.
And it was just. Yeah, they had to burn that footage, man. I was breaking down. And
Okay.
then one of
I think I've said this before, and I will say it again, just to be clear. It seems pretty obvious that this guy is completely mentally deranged. So I think that, you know, the learning from that should be you need to conduct checks on people to make sure they're mentally adequate and prepared to do that sort of challenge, okay? You know, I do think this guy probably did freak the fuck out in this challenge. And, you know, I think that they probably should have done more elaborate checks on him to check he was going to be okay or whatever, sure, initially. However, he did still have the option of leaving at any point, and he chose not to. He chose to stay there. So he had an out the entire time, you know, and this wasn't even being broadcast. It was being recorded to be edited later, and the footage got wiped off completely. So it's like, you know, you had every opportunity to leave. You could have just left if it really was that bad, really that much of a problem. You know, you could have just left. So yeah, there's certainly something to learn from MrBeast. Do adequate mental health checks to make sure people aren't going to crack under the pressure of whatever you got planned for them. But also, you know, he also, to a degree, made his own bed and continued to lie in it for 10 days with the green hot tub lights. Jesus Christ, dude.
the crew members came in, you know, just fuck the challenge. That guy needs a hug. And the next day I did the marathon. You know, that's just my lived experience, you know? That's what happened. My therapist probably shouldn't have told me this, but she was in shock. But she was like, Jake, I have patients with PTSD who have been through less. And I got people telling me that's wrong, or I'm wrong to feel that way, or I'm like a pussy, or I got paid so I shouldn't care, you know?
Yeah.
Like all of these just shitty fucking takes. And look, I'm not perfect either, you know? I was doing shit to put me in that headspace too. You know, I was glued to my phone. I was looking.
Correct. Yep. Okay. This dude needs to be like hot dropped into some sort of war zone or something. I swear to God, man. The idea that like it's unreasonable to be critical of him and their shitty takes when that's all completely reasonable to point out.
Looking at all the comments, I wanted to respond to people. You know, I wanted to have community engagement. You know, well, one of the things that I'm not a big Dane Cook fan, but one of the things that, you know, blew him up was his relationship with his audience.
Bro, also, yeah, exactly. Exactly. A therapist will tell their patient anything. Like, therapists are there. Like, they'll challenge you at points, right? They're not, sometimes they will challenge you on things. But, you know, like, as if you're going to walk into a therapist's office and they'll be like, you fucking pussy, get fucked, you know? Simultaneously, they maybe probably do care a bit, but also they want to fucking, you know what I mean? Oh, yeah, you got some terrible problems. Come on in and tell me all about it. Over 5 sessions at $100 an hour. Come on in, let's go. 2 hours a pop, sounds good.
That's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
Napa 2323, 7 became a member. Napa 2323, 7 celebrates one month of membership.
Hey,
Jake's voice causes.
Jake's voice causes AIDS, is what that says. Thank you very much for the membership.
So he was doing the YouTube thing, doing like, he was like MySpace, whatever. He had a parasocial relationship with his audience before the word parasocial even existed. Somebody like Dane Cook can do that, you know?
Wait, what?
The page, so I shouldn't care, you know? Like all of these just shitty fucking takes. And look, I'm not perfect either, you know? I was doing shit to put me in that headspace too. You know, I was glued to my phone. I was looking at all the comments. I wanted to respond to people. You know, I wanted to have community engagement. You know, well, one of the things.
Okay. Community engagement is overrated. Okay. In terms of like YouTube comments and stuff like that. I think the best way to interact with your community is just like we are, through a live stream. It's great fun. And you can get one guide and it's funny, okay? Me spurging out could be good entertainment. But I think when you take that to the context of reading comments and responding, you know, like, it either comes across as self-serving, right? Someone says something nice about you and you go, oh, and you reply, oh, thanks for that. Thanks for saying something nice about me. Or someone says something about you that is like wrong or stupid or you disagree with, and you just reply like he's done, and you look like a fucking moron pouring through their comments to argue with people that don't like them. You just can't win. You know? So yeah, I don't know, dude.
Okay,
I
that's
just think that
wonderful.
it's
But how do I
pointless
make
to have this
money
community
off depressed
engagement. It
people?
never comes
He's
off
the
particularly
male
good.
version of a pick-me girl. Pick-me guy, and please love my comedy, which is shit/sorry.
Thank you for the €5. Play Fallout London again. I'm planning to continue my playthrough for tomorrow's gaming stream because we're only just getting started last time, I feel. I've not played it since last week.
Things that look, I'm not a big Dane Cook fan, but one of the things that blew him up was his relationship with his audience. He was doing the YouTube thing, doing he was like MySpace, whatever. He had
Thank you for the super chat, by the way.
Parasocial relationship with his audience before the word parasocial even existed. Somebody like Dane Cook can do that, trying to have a relationship with the audience, trying to be active in my Patreon chats, responding to as many comments as I can. The DMs I'm getting, I'm trying to respond to as many as I can because I can't tell you enough how much they mean to me. But when I'm
Bro, what? None of this is sustainable. Dude, I probably get a fraction of the DMs this guy gets, and I don't fucking respond to most of them. Nothing personal, by the way, okay, to be clear. I just, there's not much value in engaging in conversations with, particularly in his case, where there's so many people that are contacting you. It just seems so pointless. I don't it feels a bit like, I don't know. I don't see myself as on a throne or anything like that. It's just, I don't know, would you respond to every single fan letter that you get back in the olden days? Maybe, but then you'd have some assistant probably do it, wouldn't you? I don't know. If someone messages me and there's a reason to respond, then I'll do it. I'm not, But if someone says, "Oh, hey, I like your stuff," generally speaking, I'll be, "Oh, thanks for that. Thanks for the feedback." But that's maybe there's some element of that. But yeah, particularly if you're getting this many, it just seems like a futile effort to respond to everything. And I think that people are going to understand as well. Particularly if you're in the focus, you're probably not going to be able to respond to all the messages. King Chud coming through. No, I don't think that's true. If someone just said, "Oh, hey, I really like your stuff," I'd probably respond and be like, "Oh, thanks for that. Appreciate the feedback." I would say something. Imagine, well, I mean, I don't want to. It's cool for people to send you a little message and say, "Hey, appreciate your stuff," Anyway, there's obviously that, which is fine. But then you do get some people. Remember the Valheim guy? Do you remember that? That turned into something a bit weird, didn't it? Play Valheim. I don't think I'm interested. I'll buy it for you, though. I can't remember what that guy's name was. I wish I did, because it'd be funny to just review the DMs again and see exactly how it went. Do I mention him every stream? But yeah, I do try and respond to stuff where there's just a little comment or something like that. But I don't actually get loads of messages, to be honest.
Okay, that's wonderful.
I'm a small creator, really, in the grand scheme of things.
People?
I watched some of his older vids. He doesn't ham it up with the way he speaks and gestures. There is some manipulation here.
Thank you for the €5. Obso, appreciate it. That's interesting. So you're saying, so you reckon there is a level of intentional ways doing this? Yeah, I think he is unquestionably a manipulative guy, for sure.
That engaged and when I'm that glued to my phone, I'm not touching grass, and that's why I'm catching all of these hate comments, It's because I'm so hyper vigilant of my comment sections. It was a perfect storm of having a pretty fucky-wucky mental health day. I've been getting a lot of advice, and some of the advice has been from friends.
The audio changed. Fucky-wucky mental health day. Oh my god, dude. Dude, you can just imagine him there, his brain crumbling under the pressure as he's reading all of this stuff shitting on him and just angrily typing out an Instagram message. Damn.
Family and some of them have been from YouTubers who reached out, which I'll get into in a second. Yeah, but some of the advice I get is, oh, fuck them, they're stupid, a lot of them are kids, if they're not, that's sad too. And I know, their opinion doesn't matter, because I know what the truth is. But it's still difficult for me to write off the opinions of others, because instead of saying, oh, fuck them, nothing person, it doesn't matter, meaningless opinion, I don't feel that way. I think everybody's a person. My weakness.
Bro. No. Not everyone is a Dude, this is so stupid. Listen. Okay. This is going to sound a bit pretentious, okay? It's not meant to be, but it's the best way I can think of describing it, right? But if you're putting yourself out there on a platform in some way, it's like you're on a stage, right? You're on the stage and you're doing something, okay? Now, there's an audience of people out there, but they're subhuman. They're not subhuman. It's just there's an obvious unbalanced scenario there where there's, 1,000 people, say, watching you, and you're on the stage doing something. So they're not a person in the same way that you're a person and that you're doing a performance in some way. And they're not. They're just sat there watching you, right? So, no, you can't think of them on the same level as you. That sounds very pretentious. Thank you very much for the super chat. But you understand what I mean, right? It's like, when I used to do youth theatre or something, obviously, even as a teenager, I'm putting myself on the stage there and there's people watching and it's like, there's a difference there. So like, no, it's not the same thing, And also the fact that you've got the potential now on the internet for thousands of people to potentially say stuff about you and you're only one person and you could have 1,000 people calling you a retard. Like, you've got to ignore that because you can't possibly attend to that as one individual, Like, think about it on a bigger scale as well, bigger than even Jake Weddl'es, like celebrities and stuff like that. There's tons of people that are critical of like Hollywood actors and stuff like that. It's you just can't attend to it. It's literally impossible for your brain to attend to that level of attention. So you do just have to ignore it,
Weaknesses that I care too much, and our scars remind me. I'm not gonna. Man. But it's hard for me to look at somebody individually and say, "Oh, fuck you," and then write them off. If I've wronged somebody, or if people have a perception of me that's shitty, I feel it, and I want to rectify it.
Do you know what it is, actually? It's funny he doesn't recognize this as a stand-up comedian, right? The only time that he should be responding to stuff is when he can benefit from it in some way. It's like heckling. If someone's heckling you, you can transform that and turn that into your act. That's when you should respond to that sort of thing, right? Because at that point, they are trying to or they're creating a situation where there is a bit of more equalization between the two of you because they're then speaking. They're then essentially getting up on their own stage to speak to you. So respond to that, sure, turn it into a bit.
But how do I make
But other than
money
that,
off
yeah,
depressed
especially
people?
faceless people on the internet, just ignore it, dude. Thank you very much. We maggot, he word that rhymes with maggot. Okay, thank you very much for the $2.
Because I don't want to be a detriment to anybody. I don't want to be harmful. I don't want to. If someone's got the wrong idea about me, that's fine. You just don't know the full picture. So I'll gladly tell you the full picture, and hopefully that comes with some understanding. And if you're a brick wall about it, then
Okay, that's wonderful.
I tried.
But how do I make money off depressed people?
Rosanna called, which was lovely.
True.
So Rosanna said, "Do you know the comedian Cat Williams?" I was like, "Bitch, you do research on me? What the hell?" Yeah, of course. And I'm not going to do the black accent, but I'm going to try to match the delivery. She said that Cat Williams has this bit. It was, if you got 10 haters, wake up and try harder. You're not grinding enough. And then when you wake up and you got 100 haters, keep working. You ain't done yet. Now, I was not expecting a nugget of Cat Williams wisdom, cat wisdom, to come out of a Jenna Marbles era baking YouTuber.
You hit that approach. You are not going to cope with that approach, right? The idea being that, having haters is a good thing. The more you've got, the better you're doing. So try harder, whatever that's supposed to mean. You're clearly not cut out for that. What are you on about, dude? Don't quit your day job. Isn't this day job comedy? Dude, this guy just needs to give it up. His best bet is to just go off and make his videos, do his little comedy thing, and kind of bolster a small community of people around him who are going to stay beyond the MrBeast stuff and maybe slowly build up from there, right? Other than that, he's fucked. He's a writer, isn't he? He's like a writer, comedian, yeah. But he's obviously trying to turn his hand at YouTube now he's got this attention on him. His best bet is putting in an application at Walgreens. Just put my prescription in the bag, dude. Come on.
Turner, I talked to him a little bit, The guy that tried to warn us, who we all owe an apology to. Because he was just telling people what Jimmy was like. That's why people don't come forward, man. Just because we saw what happened to Turner. So after I had a fucky walkie spell. Once I was able to step away from the phone for a couple of days and touch some needed grass, I caught up on sleep, which was very necessary. We took a break from the grind I was attempting to get in. I was trying to pump out 3 videos a week, and that's too much. And videos are going to come out when they come out. They're probably going to come out on Wednesday. Maybe you'll get 2 a week. You might get a Monday, you might get a Wednesday, you might get a Friday to the weekend.
Bro, what? It's not as if he's doing elaborately edited documentary pieces. And he's saying you might get 2 a week, maybe 3 if you're lucky. Dude, listen, I know the quartering can be retarded on some things and stuff like that, right? But this dude doesn't fuck about. He gets like 3 videos out a day. The guy's a machine. Okay, he just endlessly video. Whatever the latest anti-woke topic is, video. And, it doesn't have to be that. But it's just kind of crazy to me, the idea that you can't even manage to, spit out a video every 2 days even, or something like that, Fucking hell, dude, this is dire. Also, that work ethic is going to bite you in the ass eventually because, especially with the level of viewership that he's getting on things that aren't about MrBeast, I don't think he's going to be able to make any meaningful income off a video 2 times a week. Because he's only getting 10, 20k views on stuff that's not about MrBeast. So that's like, what, 40,000 views a week? Yeah, slim pickings.
At least 1. If you get more than 1, that's a bonus. But I'm not going to kill myself to do it. And after I caught up on sleep, took a breath, took a break, I hung out with some friends. Instant better. I was glued to the screen, hyperfixating, processing trauma incorrectly, and I needed to stop, smell the roses, hang out with some buddies. That's what I did. That works. That works a lot better than unhealthy, self-soothing habits, and that's pot kettle. So Rat Boy Summer was going so strong until the fall of Beast. So I just want to say to everybody out,
Twitch TV became a member.
Jesus Christ, we're near the end anyway, and then we'll do this. I'm actually really looking forward to this new employee that's come out. It's a very funny moment that's going to happen.
7th milestone became a member.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for the 5 kids membership. Let's go. And
wonderful. But how do I make
Luggy Wuggy.
off depressed people?
Thank you very much for the
became a
membership.
member.
I love you guys deeply. Even if we disagree sometimes, I do love you all.
That's wonderful. But how
out there
do I make
who
money off depressed people?
sees vulnerability, sees struggle, not as weakness,
But how do I make
but
money off
for what it is,
Luggy
it's just
Wuggy became a member.
emotion. It's just a reaction, You look at it with empathy and you go, hey, are you
He will have a successful career of being A-logged. Yes, that's what the future holds for Jake Weddl'es. I see a Kiwi Farms thread in his near future and endless A-logging occurring.
Are you okay? The good people in my life, that's what they do. That's the people who stick around. I'm one of those assholes that gives empathy to the worst people, even people who don't deserve it. Because even the shittiest people, unless they're like serial killer psychos, they're struggling too. Everybody being a huge piece of shit to me.
Dude, this differentiation that people make is so funny to me. They're struggling too. What, you think that someone that's a schizophrenic serial killer doesn't have some fucking struggles of their own? I mean, yeah, obviously, it's bad they've killed people, but they're also struggling. These people are probably struggling the most of all. Some schizophrenic dude. I'll tell you what I've been watching, this is really good. Netflix series. Worst Ex Ever, or something like that. Ex from Hell, or something like that's called. And also the previous show to it, Roommate from Hell. Absolutely fucking crazy stories in there. Have you seen it? Have you guys seen that? Anyway, I understand, you can't ever say anything beyond, wood chipper serial killers or whatever. But probably struggling too. It's just, we're less sympathetic in some ways, understandably, because they're hurting other people, So this guy isn't as much of an empath as he claims to be. Doesn't have much empathy for serial killers.
You guys are struggling too. That's okay. Love you, brother. Sister, they, them, whatever you. I haven't had a lot of hate from women. And that's IRL as well. So,
I'm not a wine-drinking, basic-ass housewife, so no, I haven't seen any true crime shit. This thing about true crime is so annoying. There's literally nothing wrong with true crime. You're letting the women take it over. Some of it's interesting. I watched the one about the Indian guy, finally. Okay. And... Wait, let's not talk about that right now. Let's continue.
thank you guys for bearing with me. My base level vibe is unhinged, so when I'm going through it, it's times 10. But after, ODing on YouTube, getting some rest, recalibrating, getting some good advice from some really good people, and seeing people I love, we're good. And the Dan Crenshaw video, and the Baldur's Gate video, and the Louis video are all going to come out. They're all midway through the edit.
Wait, is that Louis C.K.? Dude, I hope this guy makes a funny leftoid video about how bad Louis C.K. is. That would be great content. Dude, Louis C.K. got wrapped up in the Me Too stuff. He was treated way worse than he deserved to have been based on what happened. And it was very telling that when he came back, all of these people were like super upset with him and like wanted his gigs to be cancelled and shit. When his biggest crime was, I mean, I don't even know what you'd call it. Well, I think there's a reasonable criticism of like, well, you're Louis C.K., so you probably can't... You should be really certain that someone wants to do something before you start jerking it in front of them. Something like that, right?
Okay,
There's a
that's
reasonable
wonderful.
criticism. But it was insane how they acted like he was a
depressed people?
rapist.
Yar, I love Israel. And I hate N, pirate flag.
Thank you, Dan Crenshaw, for the 333.
And the Dan Crenshaw one is sponsored. Whoa! The BJ Investigates The Surprise Witness. Our collab should be coming out soon, probably sometime this week.
God.
Very excited about that. That was super fun to shoot, and BJ's great. And from what I hear, this is going to be a goodie. So the podcast, The Yappening, is coming soon. I have multiple videos in the works that I'm very excited about. Some of them Beast related, and some of them not. I'm more excited about the ones that are not. But the Beast related ones will bring in more money. Look, it's not my algorithm. It's Jimmy's. We're just living.
Oh my God, dude. Wasn't this guy talking about how he wanted to move on and do his own kind of content? And now he's just suckling on the MrBeast teat again. Which, by the way, totally cool with that. Milk away. But at least be upfront and honest about it. Now, it's so funny. It's so obvious that he's not getting the viewership he was expecting, so he's having to go back to the MrBeast teat.
In it. And if you think that's shitty of me to do, then anybody else who does commentary channels about other people and drama channels, then they're clout chasing 10 times harder than I am. So just the heads up, that's just logic. That's how that works. And streaming soon.
Here's the thing. If you're honest about it, I wouldn't
But
care.
The only true crime that needs to happen involves someone embezzling the Beast cash from Jake.
Thank you for the $5. I think it's funny and based when people are like, yes, I openly am just shamelessly taking advantage of the situation. But this guy, I'm certain that he talked about how he wanted to tell his story and then move on to do his own content about his own stuff and comedy.
That's wonderful.
And now he's kind of
But how do
reneging
I
on
make
that. Just like the money
off
thing.
depressed people?
Bro is manic, starting 36,272 projects.
Thank you for the $5.
I'm trying to figure out if I should go to Twitch or stay on YouTube. A lot of drama about YouTube streaming right now. But I did use some of that blood money to invest in my production. So I now have the ability to stream, and I'm no longer editing videos on a 2012 MacBook. So thanks, Jimmy. More importantly, thank you guys.
Wait, what? He spent the money on a MacBook? On a what?
Not my algorithm. It's Jimmy's. We're just living in it. And if you think that's shitty of me to do, then anybody else who does commentary channels about other people and drama channels, then they're clout chasing 10 times harder than I am. So just the heads up, that's just logic. That's how that works. And streaming soon. I'm trying to figure out if I should go to Twitch or stay on YouTube. A lot of drama about YouTube streaming right now. But I did use some of that blood money to invest in my production. So I now have the ability to stream, and I'm no longer editing videos on a 2012.
Invested some of that money? What what money did he need to invest to stream? What is he on about? He's got a computer. If a computer is good enough to export a video that you've edited, then it's good enough to stream on. You can have the graphics card you need and everything else. You need to download OBS. He's got a mic. He's got a camera. He's got a mic. He's got everything. What investment do you need to make exactly? 10 stream decks for comedy. Oh, that's a good point as well. Yeah. Wasn't the point of taking that money that it was like necessary to help with debts and whatnot? And now he's splashing out on luxury equipment for streaming from the sounds of it. Dude, this is classic cope. Hey, dude, do you remember an old convo about YouTube lawyers we had a few months back? I can't say I recall exactly.
12 MacBook. So, thanks, Jimmy. More importantly, thank you guys.
Yeah, it was like to pay debts to eat. Like he was making out like he was in a very dire financial situation to justify taking the 50K.
I shouldn't have to keep the lights on by telling millionaires who gave me trauma to apologize, but the fact that I have Patreon members and the fact that I have subscribers and you guys mean the world to me. And I'm going to take care of myself.
You need a computer that can export faster than real time or you can't stream. Well, no, that's not true because you stream at a lower bit rate and FPS than you do make a video, right? Normally. I mean, I don't know what quality this is exactly, but I mean, yeah, you know, you could, I mean, if your computer can do the videos he was putting out, you could easily stream even at a slightly lower bit rate or, you know, just below like 720p or something. But Chudd, he has to stream in 4K 120 FPS. Yeah, a format which no platform supports. YouTube, I think, maybe supports something like that. But anyway, the point is, if he's got the equipment with which to make the videos he was making, I mean, you know, I just don't understand what equipment you need to buy. Maybe a computer. But you could buy a laptop for, you know. It just seems like he's, like, what equipment do you need to buy to stream? It just seems like overkill. But anyway, it feels dishonest. I feel like the 50K justified that by saying he really needed the money. But now he's talking about splashing out on luxury streaming equipment from the sounds of it.
For me, but for you as well. So, like and subscribe. All that jazz. I appreciate you.
Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, what do you reckon, guys? That was fun. The Weddle tent. God, I really I dislike this guy. I don't really hate anyone, I don't think. I might say I hate someone, but I don't feel passionate hate towards them. I don't know, dude. He's just so pathetic and so manipulative, and people don't say the boogie comparison is so apt because it seems to me like that's exactly what he's doing, using his trauma as simultaneously a defense against his critics to stop them from coming at him, and also trying to, you know, wrangle people round
Okay, that's
to
wonderful.
like be
But how do
parasocially
I
attached
make
to him.
money off depressed people?
He got more money than some people see in years. For what, a week or more? Shut up, Weddle, and cry in a corner for the war crime that was done to you.
Yes, very true. Okay, Nicholas D'Aurelio, my co-host now apparently wants to call in. Let's have a look.